On last week's episode, we received a medal and a special blessing. We left the big city and returned to nature, and started the second phase of the Camino at the Meseta. Welcome to episode 7 of my Camino Diaries. Good morning. It is Wednesday, 29th, I believe. Started our walk a little before 6:30. On our way, we just left from Meseta. Got Sebastian in the back. And it's a nice morning. A little chill. It's supposed to be a little warmer today compared to yesterday, but it's gonna be okay. Since we left early, hopefully we'll get to Carrion de los Condes around noon, before the heat gets too hot, so it's not too bad. Today we're going roughly about 19-20 kilometers, so which is about 12-13 miles ish. Also slept all right last night, wasn't too bad. Good stay, pretty quiet last night all around. Nice to have my own bathroom that has some sheets and a warm blanket. I actually didn't take out my bed liner last night, maybe because I was too tired, but it felt a little chilly last night, so I actually used the blanket for once. It is at this stage we find ourselves deep within the Meseta. Just realized today is the halfway point of my journey in this Camino, meaning in days that I've somewhat planned around it. So 16 days of 33. So it's kind of funny to think that's already there. We got the other half to go. It does feel like yesterday that I was really nervous and excited to start the Camino, and now to think that I'm already here. Mixed feelings, letting it process. We'll see how that goes. As the morning wore on, so did the heat. Coming from California, you'd think I'd be used to that kind of weather. Think again. Here we find ourselves on a long stretch of path alongside a road. Sebastian and I find ourselves walking in silence, with an occasional quip or two when we see something of interest, like a cyclist riding on the footpath instead of the road beside us. Before continuing on our journey, I decided to talk with a pilgrim friend. They were speechless about the experience. We roughly walked about 14 kilometers now, and we're down to the last 6 to reach Carrion de los Condes. Had a quick stop here at the last town before that. A nice Coke, delicious cold Coke, and an ice cream. Because you gotta treat yourself to an ice cream. We now enter the Castilla and Leon region. Depending where you're walking, sometimes you'll see the Castilla or Leon crossed out. A rivalry, perhaps? Alright, made it to Carrion de los Condes. Now just to get to my albergue. It's really hot out right now, so I will say that. Albergue Espiritu Santo is run by the same nuns, Sisters of Charity, who also take care of the church in Rabe de la Calzada. All settled into my albergue. It's a nice place, very clean, lovely. It's got a calm vibe to it, and quite like it. And the rooms are divided into continents, and they do have separate washrooms for men and women. So got all settled in, and gonna grab myself a cerveza with everybody else, and I guess I'll figure out what we're all gonna do for dinner. And maybe I'll visit the church if it's open by the time I head back towards that way. So. Alright, breakfast for tomorrow is secured, and got myself a little snack for now because I didn't really have lunch yet, although I didn't necessarily get the most healthiest of foods to snack on, but it's something. One thing to keep in mind about dinner in Spain is that dinner time is usually around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, so sometimes options may be limited, but there are options. I was really happy to see a salad on tonight's dinner. After dinner, Sebastian, Sarah, and I decided to take a stroll down to the river. And I get paired up with these guys here. We only stayed for a short time. Had I stayed a minute longer, if you're like me, I'd be eaten alive by all the insects. I already had 3 bites from that short amount of time. Returning to our albergue, we passed by a house where Father Mariano Gil was born. In the late 1800s, he was a priest in the Tondo province in the Philippines who exposed the existence of a secret society who was planning a rebellion. It's an interesting tidbit of the Philippine-Spain history. Good morning. It is Thursday, the 30th, I believe. And we're just leaving Carrion de los Condes. Sebastian here.
Morning.
I had a good night's sleep over at the Albergue Espiritu Santo. Of course, you know, the typical snorers and whatnot, that's what earplugs are for. But the mattresses were pretty comfortable. Left the albergue a little bit after 6. Met up with Sebastian at the Plaza Mayor. And now we're making it over to our next stop. Well, for me, my next stop is Calzadilla de la Cueza. And Sebastian's gonna go one further at Ledigos. I'm trying to make it a little bit of a short day for me because I got a couple long days coming up soon-ish. And it's easier in terms of my schedule to not overdo it, especially I'm not taking a rest day compared to some of the other guys in the group. It is better to do short days mixed with long days if we're gonna do something like I am. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a nice morning. Sun is slowly coming out. And it's not too cold actually, surprisingly. But that's okay, it's gonna warm up again today. Not as hot as yesterday, supposedly, but we will take it as it is. So for now, onward and upward.
Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're walking this section is that there are no stops in between Carrion de los Condes and Calzadilla de la Cueza, except for one small little tiny cafe in the middle of nowhere. With a complimentary shot of orange juice, I will say their lemon cake was actually really good. I hear the chocolate one's good too.
Nice little random coffee shop in the middle of the path, which is great because there's really nothing in between. If you're on that path, stop by the coffee shop. Good cakes, good coffee, very delicious, and it's a good rest stop too, and resulted in shorts wear. It's getting warmer, so took the legs off the pants now, and yeah, sunscreen is your best friend, if I haven't said that already. Made it to Calzadilla de la Cueza. I just checked into my hostel. Just found that there's a pool and a washer dryer, but depends on how much I have to wash today. So we'll see if I'll take up on that offer. But that's nice. We're gonna grab ourselves a little Coke break here, and then Sebastian will be on his way.
Yes, but we will see us in Leon.
Yes. No, Renegos.
Religos.
Renegos.
Yes.
Yes.
You're right.
A day before that. There you
Yes,
go.
perfect.
So
Saturday.
it won't be too long before you see Sebastian again. Bye. Alright, Sebastian's off to Ledigos, which is the next town over. I'm heading back to my albergue to clean up, take a nap, and possibly dip my feet in the pool.
Now, a perk for having been the first to arrive at the albergue is that I got to pick my own bunk. You can guess which bunk I picked. Calzadilla de la Cueza is a small village, roughly the size of 2 small city blocks, with 2 hostels and a small, tiny little store. Kudos to our host Nathaniel for the complimentary ice pops.
Some very ominous clouds in the distance. Hopefully it's not gonna rain. It's really windy right now. Went to the store earlier, got myself some snacks, and went back inside, and now it's cloudy. Yeah.
On this evening, I opted for the menu del dia at the hostel down the street with Mateo, Debbie, and Dee. I was really excited for the gazpacho as the first dish. Not so much for the potato and protein that followed after. And if you're wondering, yes, the sun was still high up by the time we went to bed.
Good morning. It is Friday the 31st. It is well, at the moment about 6:20 in the morning. Got up before the light started breaking over there. And today we're going to Sahagun, which is roughly 23 kilometers. So it's about 14 miles. There is a bit of a chill this morning. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I think our first town stop is about 5 kilometers from here, so it's not too bad. I had a croissant this morning, so kind of filled me up with that. It was a little bit kind of stale-ish somewhat, so I was only able to get through 3/4 of it. I did sleep pretty well last night. The albergue was actually really comfy to put it. The host was very kind. He made sure, checking up on people, see if they're okay, especially if they were, hurting or aching. So that was great. There was a pool. I did not partake in the pool. I literally just took a nap for a good chunk of the afternoon and just, really decompressed. Also, Calzadilla de la Cueza is a very small town, roughly about 2 small city blocks. It's a quiet little place. Sahagun is supposed to be the midpoint of the Camino, so yeah, we made it halfway. Well, we'll do that cheer when we get there, in 23 kilometers, but it's gonna be good. I'm happy so far. My feet are doing amazingly okay now. Still put the ibuprofen gel on the muscles on the side of my feet, but that's about it so far. Knock on wood that nothing else happens. Much better from the croissant I kind of had this morning. Alright, just stopped off in Ledigos for a proper cafe con leche and a nice pan au chocolat. It was tasty, it was delicious. Didn't stay long because you know, kind of wanted to get going as well. Whew. There's a wind chill right now. My fingers are freezing. Probably should have worn my gloves, but then it's gonna get warm, but it's okay. It's not too bad when I'm walking in the sun. It's just in the shadows that makes it even colder. It's all good.
Now this particular stop surprised me because they had smoothies.
Say smoothie at second stop was actually pretty good. I feel healthy this morning. So somehow. I got Christina here, Kathy, and Barbara. Here. I'm here. We're all going together.
Shortly before entering Sahagún, you pass through a couple of pillars. This totally reminds me of that scene in Never-Ending Story with Atreyu walking in between the angels, though not as intimidating as the movie. Albergue Santa Cruz is ran by Marist priests. Initially ran by the Benedictine nuns, they now just assist in the day-to-day operations.
Made it to Sahagun around closer to 2 o'clock, right? I think 2 o'clock. Opted for a private room. Barbara and I bunking together, which is nice and quiet. We don't have to hear people snoring, which is great. And we have our own bathroom. That's an even more better plus. So yeah, probably gonna try to get our halfway certificate, which is something that I heard about. We're gonna try to figure out where to get it so we could show you as well. But yeah, and then maybe explore, depending how we're feeling in terms of our feet.
Fun fact, I love all the fresh orange juice machines at the Dia stores.
Yep, since Sahagún is considered the halfway point, you can actually get a halfway certificate. So, why not? Let's go get a halfway certificate. Barbara and I got our halfway certificates.
Yes.
In a tube. Completely not necessary to get one, but it's cool to have. So a little something to add to our, journey at the moment. Because since we're halfway there, why not?
Here we were also able to attend a pilgrimage mass. Each mass we've been able to attend so far has been different in terms of how they approach the pilgrim's blessing. It's truly an experience. Barbara and I opted to make our own sandwiches for dinner. It was well worth it. On next week's episode, the final days of the Meseta. Coming back into a big city with less intimidation. Getting a really cool stamp. Christmas holiday in July. And an afternoon of cribbage and sangria. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.